Imagine a world where missiles strike with impunity, where diplomatic talks collapse before they even begin, and where innocent civilians are left in the dark, literally and figuratively. That's the stark reality unfolding in Ukraine, and recent events paint a grim picture. Here's the headline: Ukraine claims to have struck a Russian gunpowder plant with Storm Shadow missiles, raising the stakes in the ongoing conflict. According to Ukraine's military, this daring strike targeted a chemical plant in Russia's Bryansk region, a facility producing gunpowder, explosives, and even rocket fuel. These Storm Shadow missiles, also known as Scalp missiles, are French-British made. The Ukrainian Armed Forces General Staff boasted that a massive combined missile and airstrike was carried out, including with air-launched Storm Shadow missiles that penetrated Russia's air defense system. The governor of Bryansk region, Alexander Bogomaz, confirmed the attack, stating that Ukraine used drones and missiles against the region. The Russian Defense Ministry also corroborated the attack. This marks a significant escalation, demonstrating Ukraine's willingness and capability to strike targets within Russian territory. But while Ukraine is taking the fight to Russia, it's also facing relentless attacks on its own soil. Kyiv was under intense air assault, with Russian missiles causing fires and shattering windows across several districts. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko reported that emergency services were deployed to deal with debris from destroyed air weapons, thankfully with no reported casualties. Other Ukrainian areas, including Zaporizhia, Dnipro, and Izmail, a crucial port on the Danube River, were also targeted. These attacks underscore the devastating human cost of the war and the constant threat faced by Ukrainian civilians. And this is the part most people miss: the diplomatic front seems to be crumbling. Plans for a summit between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Putin in Budapest have been scrapped after a phone call between Marco Rubio and Sergei Lavrov that appears to have gone nowhere. Their conversation also led to the cancellation of a meeting planned in Hungary's capital between Rubio, a potential Secretary of State in a Trump administration, and Lavrov, Putin's foreign minister. A senior European diplomat told Reuters the Russians haven't at all changed their maximalist position of Ukraine giving up the entire Donbass region. This impasse highlights the deep divisions and seemingly irreconcilable positions that are preventing a peaceful resolution. And I assume Lavrov gave the same spiel, and Rubio was like, "See you later," said one European diplomat. Another thought that it became evident for the Americans that there will be no deal for Trump in Budapest. Volodymyr Zelenskyy weighed in, suggesting that Russia's interest in diplomacy wanes when Ukraine's access to advanced weaponry is uncertain. He stated that Russia almost automatically became less interested in diplomacy once US Tomahawk missiles for Ukraine were no longer an immediate prospect. The Ukrainian president continued, "The greater the Ukrainian long-range capability, the greater the Russian willingness to end the war." As soon as the issue of long-range capability became a little further away for us, for Ukraine, Russia almost automatically became less interested in diplomacy. In essence, Zelenskyy believes that a stronger Ukrainian military position is essential to bringing Russia to the negotiating table and compelling them to take diplomacy seriously. One Ukrainian official described the diplomatic efforts centered around Trump as frustrating, claiming they were going in circles and felt as if they were being dragged out. Trump's current stance, which varies, suggests halting the war along the current front line, without Ukraine ceding any territory. European diplomats are reportedly working with Ukraine on a new ceasefire proposal along current battle lines. This proposal includes a reference to a peace board chaired by Trump, modeled on the US 20-point plan on Gaza. This shows that some European nations are trying to keep the US engaged in the conflict resolution process. Furthermore, around 35 allies of Ukraine are scheduled to meet in London for a summit, aiming to provide long-term support to Kyiv. But here's where it gets controversial. Some believe this European initiative is primarily aimed at maintaining Washington's involvement, rather than achieving a genuine, mutually acceptable agreement. A proposal to use Russia's frozen assets to fund reparations to Ukraine is considered a non-starter by one diplomat, indicating the complexity of finding common ground. This raises a crucial question. Is this diplomatic activity a genuine effort to find peace, or is it simply a way to manage the political landscape and ensure continued support for Ukraine? Adding to the dire situation on the ground, Russian attacks in Ukraine's Chernihiv region left 4 people dead and hundreds of thousands without power and many without water. The Energy Ministry reported that the regional capital, Chernihiv City, and the northern part of the province experienced a complete loss of electricity following strikes on power facilities. While power was restored in some areas by the afternoon, the damage underscores the vulnerability of Ukraine's infrastructure. A daytime attack by about 20 Russian kamikaze drones killed 4 civilians and wounded at least 7 more, including a 10-year-old child, in the town of Novhorod-Seversky, according to local officials. This highlights the indiscriminate nature of the conflict and the devastating impact on Ukrainian communities. A final thought: with attacks escalating, diplomatic efforts faltering, and civilians suffering immensely, the future of Ukraine remains uncertain. Is there a viable path to peace, or are we witnessing a conflict destined to drag on indefinitely? What role should the US and Europe play in resolving this crisis? Should Ukraine be pressured to make territorial concessions, or should it be supported in its fight to reclaim all of its territory? How can the international community ensure the safety and well-being of Ukrainian civilians? Share your thoughts in the comments below.